Hi everyone, this video is not really a photography related video, more just an update kind of thing on my experience with America. Kim and I recently got married, and for our honeymoon, which we did a month after our wedding, we've just got back from that. Well, I've been back for a week now. And on our honeymoon, we went off to America. We went to, first place was Vegas. Las Vegas, then Yosemite Park, then San Francisco, and then flew all the way over to New York, and then back home. So 4 places in America, each one having about 3 days in each one, and had a very interesting time, had a great time. Having a massive honeymoon blues just now. You know, that time when you come home from your honeymoon, you're just like, oh, I want to go back on holiday again. Which is kind of one of the things I feared about going to America in the first place, was just like, oh, what if I really like it? What if it's like, oh, I totally want to move there, and then I'm just totally depressed here. And that's kind of my fears of going on holiday to places which are spectacular or immense. And that's kind of my, like, oh god, what if I don't want to come home? But I am happy that I'm home, and I love Scotland, and I love its loveliness. But America was definitely a cool trip to do. But my god, some of you Americans are absolutely mental. We'll go into that in a wee while. So this is like that kind of really boring holiday photo showing off kind of thing, but I'm showing it to everyone. So if you're not interested, I understand. That's fine. You don't even need to comment. I understand that this is not interesting. However, I'm just going to go through some of the stuff and the experience that we had, because some people may be interested to know what we did and where we went and all that kind of stuff. So first night in Vegas, end up going to what is regarded as the #1 nightclub in the world. It's this place called XS, which is in a nightclub called The Wynn. The Wynn is one where Prince Harry got in trouble for streaking around naked in it a wee bit. So that was cool. So Kim and I got kind of not backstage passes, there isn't a backstage, but we got skip the queue passes from people that we know at work. We knew a guy at the door, and we got in and just a little slip of a tip in the hand, all sorted. Got into the tabled area, but I'm 30 years old now. Nightclubs, I just don't really get it. And the one thing I would say is, going to a nightclub where you don't know a load of people is just an expensive experience of just listening to really loud music. As in, like, whenever I was at school and at university, you go to a nightclub, you go in, you know 5, 10, 20 other people, you may know everyone there, and you walk in, you go, I'm really drunk, I'm just going to chat to you, I don't know you, but I've seen you in my class, and chat with them, all that kind of stuff. That nightclub time is great. Or even when you're in the UK and you're just out with like 15 mates or something, you're out for a meal, and you go, let's go to a nightclub, great idea. It's great because you're still there with a whole bunch of mates. Going just as a couple to a nightclub, if you're planning on getting absolutely wasted, I'd say, yeah, go for it. But the fact is, a drink in this place was $16 each. Oh, so $32 for a bottle of beer and a gin and tonic or something like that. So just like, this is going to be very difficult to get drunk at this. So, and because we're not drunk already, it's not going to happen. So we're in there, and there's Avicii was playing, the DJ Avicii. So that was kind of cool. But he wasn't on until the very last hour, which was like 2 till 3. And before that was a guy called Hendrix B or something like that. He was good. His tunes were fine. But yeah, just a bit weird, kind of going in, going, cool, let's listen to this music for hours on end, not being drunk, not knowing anyone around, getting constantly shoved by people. So I think now, just like nightclubs, never doing it again unless I'm with a whole bunch of people. But it was cool. The cool thing about this place is that one side is a table room, and then the other side is a swimming pool room. And again, I was very surprised about this. Everyone was very polite, and nobody was actually like bombing in the pool. I was like, is everyone sober here? What's going on? But it was very cool. So that's the actual DJ area, and he faces in the way, which goes into the actual into the seated area of the nightclub area. But yeah, I think it's a pretty expensive nightclub to get into as well. I think it was like $70 for a man, $40 for a girl to get in. So yeah, cool place to go if you know a lot of people and if you've just got loads of money and if you've already bought a table kind of thing. So that'd be pretty cool. This was we were staying at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Oh, also, if you want to see my blogging of this, I'll put the links to the actual honeymoon blogs that I did. So they're down below if you want to see them. Again, totally understand if you don't. This was the view that we had from our hotel. We were at the Cosmopolitan, which is a fairly new hotel, and it was really nice, clean, lovely, great view, and the weather, we went obviously at the end of September, start of October, just fantastic. Not too hot to the point that we were wanting to cry and melt, and not cold in any way. No wind, no clouds or anything like that. It was just fantastic. Very dry heat as well. This was inside the hotel next to us, which was the Bellagio. I can't say that without Bellagio. That's close enough. And they had a pumpkin thing going on. Obviously, big pumpkins, but oh my god, big pumpkins. Like, look at this side. That is bigger than a whole Asian family. So pretty impressed with that. And then, if you're wondering, I took pretty much all my photos were done with the iPod Touch. 5th generation, 32 gigs. A few people say, so what camera did you take with you on your holiday? I'm like, I just took my iPod. And it was so nice not lugging round a blimming digital SLR for what are holiday snaps. So that's my little advice. If you're going on a holiday and you're taking holiday snaps, just take an iPhone or something like that. If you're going somewhere to do photography, fair enough, take a camera. But this also does a nice kind of panoramic shot, so like huge images, big panos and all that kind of stuff, but it gets funny when people start moving. But everyone must have been pretty still in that shot. So inside the Bellagio, nice little kind of courtyard area with massive pumpkins. This one, I think, was part of Caesar's Palace. Inside, lots of shops, certainly lots of shopping in there, all cool. This was outside a place called Treasure Island. This is where the pano didn't quite work. This slightly fat man suddenly gets super fat. Yeah, so it didn't quite work on that. But generally, you're just taking the shots to remember the area. Now, our hotel had a pool, and it fit, you could see over to the Eiffel Tower. Can't remember what that. Maybe that's just the Eiffel Hotel. Can't remember. But it was cool because it also had like bed things half in the water, so you could have a nice wet bum and feet, but then your upper body could stay out and stay nice and dry. So I like that. That was quite cool. Always good to take a photo with a giant balloon coming out your head. A cool restaurant we went to was called this one, Tao. That one was in the Venetian. Expensive restaurant, like Chinese food or Asian food or Japanese food, Buddhist food. Delicious, good amounts, but expensive. But it was very, 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 very cool. And I think that becomes a nightclub later on as well. So check that place out. Now the hotel that we had, check it out. Giant Japanese hot tub. Was it jacuzzi? It wasn't a jacuzzi as well. But a giant hot tub, loving that. So one of the days we went for a little jog down from our hotel. So what you might be able to see is in this giant panoramic, done again with the iPod. I think that's our hotel, just kind of a little bit past that one. Then you've got the Luxor, which is the giant pyramid. Is that right? Or it's one of these. And then you've got the Mandalay Bay, which is where we're potentially going to go have stay in, but that seemed really far out. So where our one was, all the kind of party then carries on down there. So I would say the Luxor and the Mandalay Bay, and those are just seemed a little bit further away. But again, just like massive things. I thought it was pretty cool in the morning with the moon above the pyramid. I thought, oh, wow, that's amazing. At the Mandalay Bay, gold and everything, like gold ground, reflection, massive, lots of brightness there, very cool. And to the point where it reflected, I thought this was cool, the sun reflected off one of the buildings of the Mandalay Bay and was actually cooking this area across the town. So you can see like Kim is like slightly going, I can't focus, I can't open my eyes. But I thought that was kind of cool how it just hit the bus stops. If anyone was waiting there, they'd just slowly be melting. Again, the views what I think was quite cool is just that Vegas is just it's like Kim has said, it's a bit like Ibiza on steroids, and it's also just like everyone's peshed, everyone's drunk. There's not kind of like there's a couple of homeless people and some just like hippies on the street playing their drums, asking for a buck, but everyone's just like drunk or holding a beer and just wandering around aimlessly. It seemed like the main job, or the main thing to do in Vegas, is walk from hotel to hotel. It's a bit weird. Now, this is where it gets super interesting. On the second day or the third day that we were there, last day, it was not the last day, but we went to, in the Cosmopolitan Hotel, it's got this fantastic breakfast buffet. Oh my goodness. Can't describe how good it was. It had pretty much all the food you could ever imagine. It had European, it had pizza, it had sausage, it had Japanese, it had Thai, it had curry, it had just vegetarian, just fruit, just everything you could imagine. And it also had a giant cake section as well. So I ate a monumental amount of food, and at the end I was like, I'm just gonna have some more cakes to finish off. And so these were just a couple of selection of the cakes, tiny little things at the end, but just to give you an idea of how much I ate, boom. That's what made it quite difficult for me to walk back to the hotel room, because I was so fat after what I ate. That's not me actually pushing out, that's me just relaxing and just kind of going, oh my god, I am actually pregnant here. It was amazing, fantastic. It was $25 each, so worth it. If you are not going to eat for another week, I would say just fill up there and just eat until you explode, which is pretty close to it. The other bit we went to in Vegas is the Old Vegas, which is down in a place called Fremont Street, or Fairmont, and that's the old style Vegas. We've seen there where the first Vegas casino was, which is called the Golden Nugget, and that place was mobbed. Is a way out of the actual town area, or actual the modern strip. But for me, I didn't like it. It was just a bit rough, and it was the first place we saw a pregnant woman, fully like 9 months pregnant, begging on the street, and we're just like, oh, what the heck? What are we seeing? And you know, she's like there, belly out, asking for cash. We're like going, that's wrong. Is there nobody going like ushering her away and put her into a hospital or something like that? So Kim was a bit freaked out by that. But the funny thing about this place area is that the roof all becomes one giant TV. I would love to know what media company made the file that does that TV, or the whole roof. Amazing. But generally, I wouldn't go down to the Fremont area. But I think that's one where I'm sure that cowboy is famous, although he's missing light in one eye now. But yeah, kind of cool. Oh, now our hotel, the Cosmopolitan, has a place where you can get married in it. Check the video blog down below, and this girl here is getting married. Oh, slightly awkward, and also very drunk at the same time. Picturesque shot from me at the Vegas airport. That must have been Kim. Well done. Okay, now the next part that we went to, so we flew from Vegas, landed in San Francisco, rented a car from San Francisco, and then drove up to Yosemite Park. And we were staying at a hotel just outside Yosemite, seemingly the last hotel before you get into Yosemite. And again, check the details in the video blogs, which I'll put the link down to below. But just going into Yosemite, I was like, ooh, this place is going to be cool. And boy, oh boy, it is cool. So the second you get in, first thing you see, I think that is El Capitan, which is a very, very big hill. I would say all of you Google El Capitan rock climbing on YouTube. It's just what people do is just amazing. So again, just this is where panoramic sweep technology that you've got on your iPods or your phones or your cheap point and shoot cameras really comes into its own. Just very, very cool. Yosemite Park is kind of like a bigger loop, or the main kind of village is kind of a big loop that you drive around. Must be about 5 miles or something of loop. You go up to the top, there's the village, and then you drive back down, you can go back out, or you can go along to the sequoia trees over in another area. And post boxes, I thought they were cute. I'm sure you'll see lots of those on Flickr somewhere, and stuff like that. But walking around this area, just everything was stunning. The walk that we did was from kind of the village up to a place called Vernal Falls, and then Nevada Falls as well. So these are the waterfalls away, like that's one there, and then there's another one just around the corner up there. And it's considered a strenuous one. It took us about 4 hours to walk around, but it was well worth it. And just like every corner you go around, it's like, oh my god, amazing! Oh my god, that's massive! Oh my god, that's scary. So it's one of the things I've always said, which I think is great about Scottish hills or British hills, is that they're so, they're not big, they're not dramatic, but they are very accessible. Pretty much every hill you look at in Scotland, you can go, I can climb that today, no problem. I can climb that and be back down by dinner time. The things about here, which amazing, immense, monster mountains, is that so many of them are just kind of going, there's no chance in my life I will ever get to the top of that hill because I don't have 20 years experience of being a professional rock climber, kind of thing like that. I don't imagine I'd ever get to the top of that or ever see what the view is from the top of that. So that's the only downside I would say, is that for 99% of people that will go out to this area, the views that they'll get will always be the shots that you get from the path. Very few people will be able to get off the path and get the unique shots. And that's where I think in Scotland it's great. You can, any hill, go up it, no problem. Unless you've got some disability. But the panoramic shots are gorgeous. It's like trees, it's like rivers. Again, there's barely any waterfall. This is going on after a massive forest fire further into the park area, or in California. So there wasn't a huge amount, it was dry, but there wasn't a huge amount of water in the rivers or anything. I can imagine this being a much more of a torrent other times, but just stunning views with like very well made bridges as well. These aren't little like pithy ones that you'd be afraid to walk over. They're all pretty sturdy things. And again, to think that this place in wintertime is just covered in multiple feet of snow. In lots of snow, I'll go with that. Here's a little shot. One thing, sometimes some people want to know, the iPod Touch has an HDR function, and I was pretty much using that solely, but here's a little example of what's the difference between the main shot, or a normal shot, and an HDR. Look at the difference in the water from, if we go from here, see how the water totally blown out, and then the next one, you get to see the details in the water. So that's, and the same with the rock here, they're totally blown out, there you've got the details. So definitely, I was just using the HDR feature in the photos on the iPod Touch. And the panoramic shot just makes it kind of pretty cool. So that's at the top of Vernal Falls. So that's Nevada Falls. And then that's the view from the top of it, which is, I don't know how I got there, but that looks pretty scary. And then that's on the bridge, which then that bit goes wee over there. So that's definitely a cool place to go to. Again, I think that was about 6 kilometers to get to that point. And that was pretty windy uphill. And then if you just carried on doing like a full circle of the path, the total we did was around about 12, 14 kilometers. Oh my god, how big are the pine cones there? Just like, that one is bigger than Kim's head. It's like, that's cool. We don't get them that big over here. So that's not Half Dome. That was something else, which was very impressive. Again, I think I put the details on the actual blog video before, but just so many photographic opportunities that if I was going again, I would definitely want to do Yosemite as a single trip and just go there for months, I think. I'd love to go as it goes straight into autumn, into winter, see if you get like all the trees changing colour, a bit more rain, or even starting to get some snow. That'd be amazing. Our hotel at Yosemite has, what you can't see, jacuzzi, and our kitchen there, and that's taken from the bed. So we're loving that. Check that on the blogs down below. Second day, or that, I think that's at the end of the day, coming down, just looking at the hills, just like I even say in the blog, it's like, this is totally where they could be filming Jurassic Park. Just every scene, and even like this is pretty much exactly the same shot from there to there. There's almost no difference, but I've moved a huge amount, and now we've got this great like framing of the image through the trees and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just not at every point is there another image, but at every point there are multiple images that you can get. Just stunning. Now that is a view from Tunnel View or Tunnel Hill or wherever it is, and just you get the view all the way down through the park. I think that's the park. Yeah. So that's Bridal Falls over there. That's Half Dome over there, and that is El Capitan, I think. So that's the thing that people were climbing up. Just astonishing area, and just we also sunset. So that's the sun setting right over California. And just a place that was absolutely like given so much beauty. If any of you are like Jesus made Earth in 7 days and then on the 8th day he rested or something like that. It's like, well, there's always like someone in Scotland say, oh, and on the 8th day he made Scotland the most beautiful place in the world, and we drink whiskey, it's best water, blah blah. California, really, or the Rockies, I suppose that's what it is. Yosemite, just like, it's heartbreakingly picturesque and amazing. So this was the view from, at the end of the day, you drive all the way up, you go up to Glacier Point. Again, all very well built, like really good like park area. It's not just falling apart. There's no kind of broken stones or anything like that. Like if you're in a wheelchair or something like that, it's pretty much all accessible as well. So it's very well done. But just what a stunning shot! Just how the sun is just beating through a sliver through the clouds and hitting the hills like that. I thought that was astonishing. So that's Half Dome. Obviously, it's a big dome, and that's the drop. And the waterfalls that we climbed up, that was Nevada Falls, and then Vernal Falls was just a little bit further down. Or is that a better example? Yeah, but just what I think would be the most difficult thing is figuring out where are you going to take photos on a particular day, because there's so many amazing locations to be at that you'd want to be in 15 places at one time. Whenever you go, oh, the light's amazing, I want to be at Double Glacier Point, I want to be looking at Vernal Falls, I want to be looking at Bridal Falls, I want to be looking down Viewpoint, all that kind of stuff, or Tunnel View or whatever it is. So it's just it would actually probably be more difficult because there's so many options to shoot. The potential of you just going, gotta drive somewhere, and then losing the shot would be a difficult one. Another thing we loved about this place is there's these fat squirrels everywhere. I think they're called Douglas squirrels, and they don't move like grey squirrels or red squirrels that we've got in the UK. Because like normally when red squirrels move, they've got a cool, weird, fluid movement in them. These ones were just like total fatsos, totally filled up on cakes and biscuits and sweeties, but very, very friendly, which is quite cute. Lots of deer everywhere. It's kind of a one-way system as well. And now, Yosemite, very famous for Ansel Adams. He totally rocked this area. You can see like he bigged up on giant cameras on top of cars. You know, that's how he did his photos. So definitely if you want to see any Ansel Adams books or big prints or anything like that, Yosemite Village has definitely got that. I love that. Yosemite bear poo. What is it? It's a nut in a chocolate covering. So then the second day that was it the second day? Yeah, second day that we were up there, we went to the other part of Yosemite, which is the sequoia tree area. So again, HDR photos, so we've got all the details in the dark and blues in the sky. But just like, this is a fallen over tree, this is its roots, and there's Kim. So that's the size of it. Amazing. Grizzly giant tree. That photo really doesn't show off the size of these things. Like, these are astonishing. The stone, I thought, looked like a grumpy face. So eye, nose, and then mouth. So just lots of interesting things everywhere you go. Kim loving the look of some moss. Very interesting. And indeed, the moss was very interesting, very colourful. So this is a place where the trees just get bigger and bigger and bigger. You just kind of go, like, if you look at Kim, that's Kim, and then you could have another, probably take about 10 Kims to do the circumference of the base of that tree. And just everywhere, again, total Jurassic Park area. You can totally imagine it being Jurassic Park, but it's when you see, like, just the scale of things. Kim inside a tree, inside the root of a tree. And again, so you look at the shot going, oh, okay, it's a nice tree, there's a road. Oh my god, look at that tiny dot down there, which you can barely see. That's actually Kim. So that's, oh my goodness, how is that? The real question is, how on earth do these trees survive in high winds? I just do not understand. Just amazing. So yeah, some more views, Bridal Falls. So yeah, you can really see how little water is coming over Bridal Falls at this time of year. Normally that's a giant gush. What I am a bit confused about just now is that just now there is a government shutdown in America, and they've closed off the national parks. However, this is a really swanky hotel which is right inside Yosemite, a national park. It's called the Ahwahnee Hotel, and it's nice inside. I'm just kind of going, are people able to get up to it? Are people allowed to stay in it? What is going on? Here's a couple of shots of the inside. Very grand. It's kind of a little bit reminded me of the hotel in The Shining. So I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I wouldn't like to be here when there's no one else here, though. But great views, like Kim sitting beside a burning hot radiator, and the view outside, massive mountains, sun hitting it, gorgeous. View again of the kind of living room area. This is like a nothing area here, which is a bit weird. Dining area, dude playing the piano, lots of restaurants, lots of tables. Very, very nice in there as well. Oh my god! What? Like, Kim's always like, oh, we should get a photo here, we should get a photo here. This is why so many photos are selfies and me taking the photo of Kim, because if we give the camera to someone else, this is the photo that we take. We say to this person, can you take a photo of us in this tree? And lo and behold, half of the image is the dirt in front of us. It's like, you don't need to be a professional photographer to understand that that is a totally shit photo. We want to see the giant massiveness of this grand, super grand tree, so big enough you can drive a car through, but no, you've filled it up with half of the dirt in front. Well done, random person we gave our camera to. So I think I went back later on the day to try and take a photo of that giant pine cone. Me inside a tree. Me inside a other tree, which is really, really massive. Similarly, they burn these trees, and they are totally like fine about it. As in, what you're seeing on the outside, the bark, is like fire retardant, and it can burn all outside, but the inside stays happy and alive. So the outside is not the life force of the tree. Here's an old area which you find, which is quite cute. On the way from Yosemite, from the sequoia trees back to Yosemite Village, it looks like the old area of Yosemite. Yosemite Transportation.co, Wells Fargo and Co Express. So it just seemed like a cool little place. Didn't really understand what was going on there though. So far, so good. Everything's gone to plan. There's not been any issues. The car that we rented it wasn't the first time, but it was an automatic. Now in the UK, I always drive a manual car. It's more common to have a manual car in the UK than it is in America. And just, oh my god, automatics are just rubbish. They're just like, you put your foot down, and then it thinks a while, and then it decides to go. And if you're going downhill, it just goes into super high gear, uses the engine, and then your car is just going meh all the way down a road. So not a big fan of the automatics in America. But the one thing I would say is that drivers in certainly, well, in California, no, actually in New York as well, just absolutely insane. Like, some people have given me grief in the past of like, oh my god, Dom, I can't believe you're blogging while driving. And I've gone, what, what's the issue? Not a chance would I do blogging while driving in America. It's just like, the drivers there are insane. It's something which I've never noticed before, but now I see in every advert or anything that I see, is that in the UK, very simple, we have, let's say we have a two-lane or a three-lane motorway. You have the outside lane, which is your slow lane. So usually just trucks and caravans on that. Then you have your middle lane, which is where people go at the driving speed limit. And then you have your outer lane where people use overtake or they just kind of go at 80, 90 miles an hour. Most normal drivers are in the outside lane. But in America, it seems like there is 5-lane motorways and everyone goes wherever the hell they want. They're just like, the amount of that's the most bizarre thing, is the undertaking. So I'm driving along and the second to inside lane, so what to me should be the 1, 2, 3, 4th, the second fastest lane, and then one more lane should be the super fast. And I'm in that lane thinking this is safe. That means I'm able to go over that way if I need to take a junction off, and I can overtake if somebody breaks in front of me. And people will overtake me from the inside lane and then pull in front of me and then go into the other lane, and then people in the outside lane will go forward and in and out, and it's just everyone is weaving everywhere. There's no kind of set rule or decision that everyone has made. And not only that, is that in the UK again, on a motorway we all have the idea of the 2-second rule, where you kind of think, okay, that car has just crossed over that line, it should be at least 2 seconds until I cross over that line. That way I've got at least a 60-foot gap between me and the car in front going at motorway speeds, and therefore if that car suddenly has to brake, I've certainly got enough time for me to brake as well. However, any time where there is a 2-second gap between me and a car in front, quite happily 2 cars would just move in front and go happily, and everyone is right up each other's arse when driving. And certainly in California I noticed that a lot, and in New York everyone's just driving with one hand on the horn, just going honk, 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 honk. The amount of crashes or amount of near misses that we saw driving on the motorway outside of San Francisco was just unreal. And the amount of people just like, floor it! And then all of a sudden there's just too many cars on the road and it would just grind to a halt, and everyone's like slamming on the brake, floor it! It's just like, oh, I think California's got a lot of things right, but I think generally Britain's got a much better driving reputation than the maniacs on the road in California. So that's just my experience from it. So when we went to San Francisco after Yosemite, we stayed in a hotel just off of Union Square. Union Square seems to be like the main centre part inside the city, so close to the financial and kind of a good touristy area, lots of shops and all that kind of stuff, and a cute little area, Union Square. And just lots of arty stuff, very arty, very relaxed, just comfortable place. We went onto the top of Macy's, the shop just around at one side. Free internet, free Wi-Fi, awesome. So managed to Skype home at that point. This is the first time we had internet, so we're like, oh yes, Facebook. So that was good. And let's see, yeah, went to a Chinese, got very drunk, got really drunk, great food. That was a view from our hotel, so we're looking straight down onto the Union Square. The hotel we were staying at was a thing called the Chancellor, and we went in and said, we're on our honeymoon, can we get a good view? And they're like, we can put you higher up if that's good. And we're like, yeah, put us higher up. So that was good. This area is where the seals come. It's called Pier 39, randomly. So it seems it's famous because there's lots of seals. They come along and just like fight with each other on these things, these boards put out there. And seemingly they only turned up about 10 years ago, randomly after an earthquake, a San Francisco earthquake. The seals just randomly started to pop up and started like living here now. So it was just like, that's a weird phenomenon. But it's kind of cool. And it's clearly a big tourist attraction, because you just see the amount of people everywhere all just looking at these things, seals, dogs. They're just weird things. Well, what we find is so funny is that loads of them would fight for one, and then one would just be sitting all on his own. And yet another one would like jump up onto one of them, and they'd all have a big fight. Is that even though there's loads of room everywhere else? So quite interesting. And great view. You can see all the way over to the Golden Gate Bridge, and you've got just kind of the area there. So it's a cool looking city as well. Lots of sunshine, massive parks. So the kind of beach area. So the city centre is pretty city, as in pretty. There's not very many parks or anything in the city, but that's because on the outskirts, or just on the edges. Loads of green everywhere, and also like big funky kind of art things as well, but just massive parks. And then in the evening this was just filled with people having barbecues, throwing American footballs, and just having a lot of like happy times going on there. Yeah, so here's probably a better example of showing you like giant metal artwork. I think these were made out of the same bits of metal that were used in the old Golden Gate Bridge. I'm not sure, that might be total bollocks, but great beach as well. Some people doing kite surfing. It just seemed like a very active place. Lots of joggers, lots of people out with their dogs, running, cycling. It seemed like a healthy place to be. It's a place that I think if I was going there, I'd be like, yeah, I like jogging. I'll go to San Francisco. I think it looks like a nice place to go for a jog. It didn't seem like polluted or anything like that. It just seemed quite nice. On one of the days there, Kim and I rented out bikes, blazing saddles, and we cycled over the Golden Gate Bridge. Again, all the details are in the video down below. And that gave me a sore bum for many, many days afterwards. Just because I don't cycle that much, but a bike saddle is it hurts. I thought it was just because I was fat when I used to cycle, but even when I've lost all this weight, it's still blimmin' sore. But once you get all the way out to the Golden Gate Bridge, it's actually pretty windy, so there's always sailboats there, and it can be quite foggy and cold. So we just went on. I definitely brought a jumper with me, but again, cool panoramic image with the iPod, but when it's involving cars, awesome transformers everywhere. So that was cool. Now so after we got off the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, we cycled down to a place called Sausalito, which there was a guy called B Balance, or I've got to check him out on YouTube. B Balance. He just balances these stones on top of each other, and it was just like amazing. Like, that is badass. And we thought maybe that's fake, but then we went back later on, and he had changed things. We're like, oh my god, this is for real. And so I've got to check him out. Bebalance. I've got to check that on YouTube. He's got his own channel. He has little cameras and everything. But I was just thinking, this area, the houses here must be worth a fortune. Such a gorgeous place, and views over to San Francisco. Nice. Golden Gate Bridge. Alcatraz, we did a trip there. There's Chinatown, first in the morning. Seriously, nobody wakes up in the morning. Up a hill. My goodness, this is a steep place. We're just looking at these cars, just kind of going, how do people drive around here? Again, I suppose that's one of the benefits of an automatic. You don't have to really learn clutch control. But just, there must be like days when it's a windy day and you must be thinking, oh my god, is it just going to like blow my car over? Which would be a bit scary. So one of the days we went for a jog and we cycled up, we jogged up to Coit Tower, and the view that we got over to the Golden Gate Bridge with the har, or the fog, or the mist, or whatever you want to call it, coming over the bridge, I was like, that is very, very cool. I don't think the photos or the video really demonstrated how awesome that was. The one thing I think is San Francisco really looks like a city out of Grand Theft Auto. Is kind of what I'm saying. It looks... It's kind of a little bit Brazilian, I'd imagine, or like it looks a little bit like Brazil. This is a weird thing. On our jog, no one else up, but this restaurant had a queue all the way up the road, and there was nobody else around. It's like, what's so good about Filbert and Stockton Mama's breakfast place? So I've got to figure out what's going on. Even the pigeons were loving it up there, so I don't know what's famous about that. The Crooked Road. From there, great views. So you're looking over to the Bay Bridge, I think that is over there. Then you got your Coit Tower, so that was the view that we had over there. But just very, very sweet kind of place. And just like very, very Asian in the morning. Everywhere in San Francisco seems to be like Asians seem to get up in the morning, and other people just don't. Here's a park. Now where was this? This was the Martin Luther King Park, I think. Now this is what I thought was a bit strange about San Francisco, is the amount of homeless people there. Just so many homeless, and not just like people going spare change, got spare change, but people who are proper crazy, talking to themselves, just insane people. all over, like an intense amount of them. I was like, what the heck's going on? And I couldn't figure out whether have I just been hidden what do you call it? Just I haven't seen the amount of kind of crazy people that there are in the world, because in the UK we normally see them on the street being crazy and we'll take them off the street, we'll put them into a home or put them into a mental house or, you know, a place where they can get therapy or something. We won't just leave them on the street to like pick through bins and take a dump on the pavement. So it's just like, it was really, but the weird thing was none of them are really threatening. There wasn't kind of a Kim or I never had a like, oh my god, there's a homeless guy. It was just like, there's, I don't know if you've got an example here, but over in the corner, yeah, family here, just got it here, family here, mum, dad, two tiny little children, total homeless guy, eating cigarette butts out the bin and talking to himself, and nobody bats an eyelid. It was really, really something which I hadn't experienced before, certainly not in the UK. In the UK, it's homeless people, they're either hidden underneath the bridge that you don't see, in a mental home somewhere if they're that crazy, or they're told, Jakey's going, spare change, I've got any money for the bus, I need to pay for a phone call or some crap like that, and you're just like, fuck off. But here, it was weird, it was very unusual, and kind of off-putting to go back to San Francisco as well because of that. Although not threatening, it was just not very pleasant to see that as vigorous as what it was. Like when we went to New York, there was some more homeless people there as well, but not even a tenth of the scale as what it was in San Francisco, especially right in the city centre of San Francisco. Bit strange. So we did a trip out to Alcatraz. Now, if you're doing a trip out to Alcatraz, definitely book that well in advance, because when we went there to pick up our tickets, they were saying, and the next free time for a trip out to Alcatraz is 3 days away. So if you're going out, make sure you buy your tickets online well in advance. Inside, what a miserable place. But lots of stories. Everyone has headphones on. That was the rooms. Seemingly, one little thing I did hear, everyone's like, oh my god, the rooms are so small. They're like 6 foot by 9 foot by 8 foot or something. They're saying, actually, that's big compared to what you get in solitary confinement in modern security max prisons. So yeah, that was an interesting thing. It wasn't spooky. It wasn't like, I didn't get the feeling of, oh, it's totally haunted, but just a place of like, oh damn, you're totally screwed when you're in there. Especially when you could see there was a shot outside of a window. Did I get it? No, I didn't get it. But there's a shot where you kind of look through a window and you can see San Francisco, and similarly at New Year's time, if the wind is in the right direction, you can hear people having parties at San Francisco. And if you're in Alcatraz, that would have just sucked so bad. And then that night, randomly, Kim and I stumbled upon a South American restaurant which had belly dancing going on, which was awesome. Pena Pachamama. Thought that was hilarious. She's like, where are we going? Next, you know, there's like a lady just in her skimpy little outfit jiggling around all over the place. So yeah, everyone looks like a tool with headphones on, and even more of a tool there. That seemingly is where a grenade went off and left all the little bits of shrapnel on the ground. Totally Shawshank Redemption. How much was that story just a rip-off of what actually happened in Alcatraz? If you haven't watched Shawshank, if you haven't been to Alcatraz, there's 2 things you need to do in your life. And yeah, so belly dancer, jiggly bits flying around, can't see that, trying to do sneaky photos. So after San Francisco, we then got the flight, went over to New York, and this was probably the biggest surprise. Okay, 2 of the biggest surprises was 1, the amount of homeless people in San Francisco, and 2, how laid back it was in New York. There's a great song by Baz Luhrmann called "Always Wear Sunscreen," or "Wear Sunscreen." I can't remember what it was, but there's a lyric, or there's a sentence or 2 in it, and one of it is like, "Live in California for some time, but leave before you become a hippie, and live in New York for a while, but leave before you become bitter." Or I don't know what that exact words are or something like that, but There was the idea that my impression was that people in San Francisco are like hippies, yeah, lovely, super. Oh, you're from Scotland, that's cool. And people in New York are like, give me a tip, give me a tip, give me money now. I've just given you a $1 sweetie, give me $5 tip. No, I thought they were gonna be told hard nosed, not business people, hard nosed, just straight to the point talking kind of people. And maybe and certainly I did get that feeling from when I overheard New Yorkers talking to other New Yorkers on the phone. But to a tourist, I was like, oh my god, everyone here is so friendly. Oh my god, people in Scotland could totally take a leaf out of their books or whatever it is. And right in this is Central Square, Times Square, a place which is hustle and bustle, isn't. It isn't a hustle and bustle. It's actually totally like, oh, this is cool. Let's sit and chill. There's like benches and chairs and tables, and everyone's just like sitting, relaxing, going, this is cool. And nobody's like pushing out the way, I'm in a rush or anything like that. It was a real kind of like, oh, wow, this is a relaxing place to be. Totally contrary to my imagination. The Empire State Building, don't go up that one. Go up the Rockefeller Building so you get the view of the Empire State Building. That's what we did. But we went in there just have a look what like inside. Bryant Park, lovely park. Again, near that area, it's all pretty much in the centre of Manhattan. And now, we went up this building here, which is, can't remember, by the top, rotating restaurant. Very cool, expensive drinks though, but just kind of cool. Second day we were there, or the first actual day there, we got, well, the Statue of Liberty was closed because, again, this, what do you call it, government shutdown. But you can get the free Staten Island ferry that goes from Manhattan to Staten Island, I guess, for free, which is, it's like, that's really cool. Thank you for that, American government or New York taxpayers. And you get a good enough view of the Statue of Liberty. Our hotel, we were at the 414 Hotel, which is honestly the perfect location to go to. It was so good in terms of, it was 1.5 blocks away from where you'd get all the tourist buses to do the loops around town. And then 3 blocks, which was, that itself was only an extra other 1 block to Times Square. Just perfect location and a sweet area as well. Brooklyn Bridge, cool bridge, nice bridge. Great view over the one. New York. The other thing I thought about New York is, oh my god, this is Gotham City. Everything I thought about it was like, this is exactly what, certainly in Batman, the last one, where they blow up all the bridges, that's totally this. That is New York. This is a new World Trade Center. Now, hold on, let's see if I can see this. Now, when you're down at ground level, you're like, oh yeah, there's a high building. You don't realise how high it is until when you're way out on the boat, you go, oh my god, this is already almost double the height of the other highest building. So it's funny, when you're in the area, you don't really respect the height which these buildings are going up to, or certainly what that building goes up to. So that's a new one which is being built near the Ground Zero area, which, again, I didn't really see it. It was all behind wood and stuff. I found a thing that sold Dominic's sausage. Italian Sausage Hero. Maybe I should put it as my Facebook name. Dominic, Italian Sausage Hero. Nice. There's Statue of Liberty. This place was nice. Fulton Market. I think it had a different name. Very sweet again. Again, it's just a weird kind of... this is a total business district, and we were expecting it to be a bit more like aggro or something like that. But totally not. Just very relaxed. I think if you ever want to see what aggro and hustle and bustle is, London is where it's at. So I would say, like, I'd imagine Americans come over to London are just like, what the fuck? Everyone here is so rude, so busy, so pushy, compared to even the most hard-nosed New Yorkers. So, yeah, New York, I would say, to the point, Kim and I are both saying that we would more happily get the flight to New York and have a week in New York, or a weekend, or a long weekend in New York, than go down to London. How awesome is this guy? Giant, mega python on him, just walking around, just like, yeah, that's cool. You don't get that in Edinburgh, that's for sure. Now, the other thing, Americans go on and on about Brits having shit beer. Wait, do they? Yes. And I was expecting, because I was like, oh, you've got this like dark brown thing called beer. We're like, yeah, all your stuff is lager. But no, you guys have got this awesome brew. You've got loads of good beers. Just stop drinking Budweiser and Coors Light and all that kind of stuff, which is pissed with fizz. But you've got so many awesome beers that I really enjoyed in the House of Brews. There's a couple of those in New York, and I got very drunk, as you can see. Now the other thing, happy place. So whenever I am like being hypnotized, or whenever I'm in a stressful situation, and I've got my psychologist going to me saying, Dom, go to your happy place. Go to your happy place. I've got two happy places now. One is Yosemite. That's my happy place. And the second place is Central Park in New York. Seemingly, on one of the tour buses, the guy said, this is the same size as Monaco. And I was like, I don't know how big Monaco is, so I can't really be impressed by that. But okay, that's cool. We jogged up there one day, and the second day we just got like a lunch and just sat in the park here. Lots of squirrels, lots of birds, lots of ducks. Just massive and immersive as well. You can honestly just go in there and be in there for yonks and yonks and yonks. And again, it's just such great views. How it's just, at some point you can be a single person just sitting on your own in front of a pond. There's a lovely guy painting on an edsel, a mum, a kid, and then, oh my god, giant mega skyscrapers in front of you. It's just I think it's such a weird and beautiful, good use of nature in a city. Just like, well done, whoever it was that decided to. And see, they go on and on about, oh, it's a man-made land. I'm like, what a brilliant man! All about the Rockefeller people. There's quite a lot of chat about how the Rockefellers owned so much money and so much land and bought loads of it and just said, actually, screw you all, we're going to keep it as a park. I'm like, Rockefellers, you rock. Well done. You're awesome. Grand Central Station, Apple Store up here. That's interesting. But again, just totally blowing my head of just, this is Grand Central Station. Massive hub for lots of trains and all that kind of stuff. Go in there expecting to be battered by people rushing past me, going one way, going the other, just chaos. But again, totally relaxed, totally chilled, totally just like, I want to hang out here kind of thing. Just so that's probably the biggest mind mess that I've had, is just how there wasn't the hustle and bustle that I was expecting. Like, that was just like people just casually everywhere. It was so bizarre. So that's a Rockefeller building. Now that's the one that's famous, so there's usually people ice skating in this little park down at the bottom, but that's obviously not ice at the moment because it was 30 degrees while we're there. But however, the panoramic function works interesting until, oh no, that actually is right, because that, maybe it's not, I don't know, need to check that. But yeah, panoramic thing. Horses around Central Park look nice to look at, smell of horse poo everywhere, and also if you get the ride, all you do is you sit in it and you're looking at the horse rider's bum. So it's just like, I wouldn't bother getting that. Also, massive like marketing fail is the people that are like going, do you want to go on the horse? Do you want to go on the horse? Or do you want to ride a bike? Do you want to ride a bike? It's like guys with baseball caps and like scaffy t-shirts. Meanwhile, if there was a guy there maybe in a suit or even just a shirt, it was just like so much smarter kind of thing. So it's just like, they massively failed in certain marketing points when you're looking at this gorgeous, old-fashioned, beautiful horse and carriage, and then some guy with a baseball cap going, do you want to go on? 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 And it's just a bit weird, just like fail of marketing. Again, Central Park, loved it. sleeping on the rock in there. Went to a nice hotel for a drink, which again, cocktails pretty expensive, about $16 each again in here, but there were cocktails, so that was okay. I had great view over the city, so I think Kim and I's hotel was just kind of like down that street there, or maybe that street over there. And then you've got I think that's the Hudson over there, but I was like, what the heck is this? There seems to be like a battleship and a submarine going on here. What is this? That is seen later on. And just great view. Oh, so this is our hotel, just if you're looking for it. It has no sign on it whatsoever, but free Wi-Fi. So if you're walking past it, you get Wi-Fi if you go in there. Great view. So this is a view from the top of the Rockefeller Center, which is one which you want to get, which is now, if I turn off my phone, is my thingamabob. Turn it on. So on my phone, I've now made that my image because I think that was really cool. So it's getting to the view over to the Empire State Building and the other thing with the big blue spike on it. Very cool. So if you're into your big buildings and your architecture, New York's a pretty darn cool place. And it's always cool having a bit of that building sticking out your head. Now, on another day, we went again back to Central Park and we got up to this fountain here, and this fountain, I'm sure I've seen it in some like spy films where somebody gets shot in there or something like that. But then this bit, which is known as the lakes, it's just like, what the hell kind of green is this? I went up closer and it's like, that is possibly not saturated enough to show the kind of green that was. It was the weirdest, like super mega ultra green thing going on. The kind of thing that, you know, in Edinburgh or Scotland, if there's a big pond like that, drunk people would fall in it whenever they're on their stag do's or something like that. Here, nobody would go near that. That looks like in The Simpsons, there's that three-eyed fish that came out of the radioactive pool. That's what this water looks like it is. Another thing that we did, which was really nice, again, just mind-blowing, was the High Line. So the High Line was, or is, a disused or abandoned railway, above-ground railway line that went through a bit of New York, and they stopped using it, and it started to get overgrown and just became derelict and rubbish. And it was amazing the speed by which trees and plants and animals, oh not animals, but started to just grow out of it. So they were going to just completely demolish it, but they said, no, let's turn it into this gorgeous oasis of greenness all around town. And it's a lovely place to just walk in such a concrete city and then just have this gorgeous like mega garden that goes everywhere. And they've thrown in piles of artwork everywhere. So the sides of buildings are artwork, and then there's all this kind of stuff. But it was just such a nice thing to see. That, the Intrepid, you'll see that later on. So that is actually the old railway tracks that were on it. And the trees I think they've obviously planted some trees there, but a lot of it was stuff that is just how it was, you know, just growing naturally. And they've got this nice little bit where there's a view at some point where you can look through a wall down the street. It's kind of a cool little shot there. Again, massive pumpkins, Cake Boss in Bryant Park, in the submarine. So the Intrepid is a museum, which is an old battleship or a ship, and you also get to go into the submarine, which is kind of weird. And then awesome, if any of you've seen I Am Legend, or I Legend, or I think it's I Am Legend. This is where Will Smith is hitting the golf balls off. I think he's standing on that and he's hitting golf balls. I was like, that's so badass, that's so cool. That is an Blackbird, an A12 Blackbird, a Lockheed Air Blackbird A12 or something like that. And Mach 3, just that's cool. But the weird thing is, that was the technology from 1969 or something, or 1970. And it's like, that is old tech, but it was so awesome. So nerd here, love this area. And then going to the back, look at those engines. Oh, so cool. So many cool things. Look at that. There's a MiG 17 or something, MiG 13, I can't remember, but just like that was I think the Russians had those, and the Chinese and the Koreans. Just very cool. Torpedo. Just also, how did they get that plane onto the ship. Because, like, look, his wings are, like, totally hanging off the edge. And again, on a windy day, slightly nervous. Or, like, on a hurricane day. Like, they had Hurricane Sandy there at the exact same time this time last year. Oh, scary biscuits. It also had a Concorde exhibition there as well. So there was an actual Concorde there. And just, like, look at the engine and, like, go, whoa, that's not the kind of engines that you got on our little plane to New York. But, yeah, just, there you go. There you go. Certainly, the Intrepid, I think that was $32 each, I think, or somewhere around about that. But that was a pretty cool thing to do on our last day. And then get some more cake boss before we go on the bus back to Scotland. So, yeah, come back to Scotland and it's cold, wet, dark and miserable. So I'm just like, I want to go back to America. And I think definitely I'll be doing trips back to New York in the future. Love to do Yosemite. Maybe, instead of doing Yosemite again, maybe do Yellowstone or another part of the Rockies or something like that. Because it's just stunning, the stuff that you've got up there. You really, if you're from San Francisco or anything like that and you haven't been to Yosemite, it's like you really are missing out on a bit of soul awesomeness there. So I would say definitely get out, go up there, check it out. And San Francisco, sort out your homeless and your craziness problems going on there. And New York, keep being the way that you are, just like totally relaxed and chilled. Awesome. So yeah, there you go. And again, any more details, they're in the links to the videos down below. Hope it helps. I don't think it does help, but I hope that was entertaining. Okay, bye-bye.